How about with you, Brian? Tell us a little bit more about your family.
Well, Anthony, after that start, I need to tell my wife, Susie, honey, as much as Anthony loves Chris, I love you just as much.
As long as he doesn't say he loves you more. I have to tell my husband I love him. No.
So my wife, Susie, and I have been married for 10 years. We've got two little boys, Sean and Ian. Sean is 7 years old, and Ian is 5. Sean is a second grader at Rolling Hills Country Day School. Ian is in DK, which is developmental kindergarten, which is considered kindergarten at Point Vicente School up here on the hill. And Susie used to be an advertising executive. She gave that up for an even better job. She loves being a full-time mom. She helps out a lot in the schools and with other charitable groups around the hill. And my business is commercial real estate. I do a little bit of entry-level development, but mostly what we do is commercial brokerage work. That's been the primary point of my career for the last 28 years. What we do now is, in this economy, we help companies, small to medium-sized companies typically, restructure, recast their commercial leases to help them lower their overhead for their office space or industrial buildings or restaurants, things like that, and help them survive and save jobs.
And of course, you have a strong military background.
I was an Army officer for 14 years, 2 years active duty. I served overseas. I spent the better part of a year on the demilitarized zone with North Korea.
Wow. Does this mean you're going to keep the council in line? Are you
My military experience has had the effect on me where I certainly look for the peaceful solution first, as opposed to the other side.
You had your first council meeting December 1st. You were sworn in, and we have all that on tape. Of course, we were there at the council meeting. Very exciting night. Your families were there, and very special. What was going through your mind as this was all coming together? And it was exciting, I'm sure. Well, how for that moment for you?
Well, it was, as I said that night, it was a dream come true. Little did I realize that, as a senior at Merrill S. High School, that 31 years later,
right,
I would be sitting at the dais of our city council. It was really something that I'm very humbled by and very grateful to the voters of RPV for.
We won't find that you wrote that in your yearbook as your future.
No.
And how about for you for that evening? You had your little ones running around.
My two little boys were certainly excited about their dad getting on city council. My 7-year-old understands a little bit about what the job is. My 5-year-old is just excited that he can watch it on TV when he wants to stay up that late. But I was very pleased with being sworn in and being a part of a local governmental system that really has existed for thousands of years. I mean, to finally take a position in the history of just our city and be able to have some positive effect going forward was deeply satisfying to me, particularly because prior to this spring, I never had any particular aspiration to serve on city council. I love serving in the city. I was on the General Plan Update Committee. I was part of CHOA, the Council of Homeowners Associations, was president of that for a couple of years. And I was just so pleased that this city, when we moved here 11 years ago, was so open to newcomers getting involved. But to actually aspire to be on city council, that wasn't anything that I particularly thought I needed to do. This spring, however, it became evident to me that I thought I could play a productive part in this, which is why I jumped in. And I think that resonated with voters out there, that I don't think Anthony or I have any aspiration to be anything other than a positive factor on council. And when our time is done, we'll go back to being neighbors and make room for somebody else that's qualified and wants to play a role.
What are your biggest goals on the council? What do you hope to accomplish while you're in?
Well, I want to keep our neighborhood safe, which goes to lots of our quality of life. I want our council to listen to the residents and want to encourage more residents to be part of our our city government, if that's serving on commissions and committees. I want to look at the way our city budgets and how we spend our money, and maybe look at new ways of budgeting. I also want to make sure that we're prioritizing
Right.
our expenditures, so that we're focused on our infrastructure.
How about some of your ideas and goals?
I could echo most of the same things that Anthony just talked about, but in particular, I want government to be closer to the people. The less barriers we have between city council and city staff and our neighborhoods and our neighbors, the better. The more of our neighbors actually work at the city, I think is a good idea. We've got a number of RPV residents that right now work on city staff. I think that is a great thing. I think we've got a tremendous advantage in that we're serving with 3 council people that have worked together for 6 years. I mean, we're the first new council people in 6 years. So we've got a great advantage in that we've got experienced people to lead the way. We've got an advantage in that all those 6 years that we were not on council, we've been out there in the real world. We're both business people, and we're out there fighting and struggling every single day.
Right.
Right. Since you've been elected, are you already finding residents are now contacting you and they're looking to you for this type of leadership or to make these kinds of decisions? Are you already hearing more now from your neighbors, from the residents, since you've been elected?
Yes, and
Is your phone ringing off the hook? No.
Well, and I was going to say, we were, at least I was hearing from the residents even before
Right.
the election.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and then, in the interim between being elected and being sworn in, even more so, and now even more so.
Yeah. I think I asked you when we had the candidates forum, when you were out there, because you both were out there in the thick of it, talking to so many voters, was there any particular issue that was really resonating? Was there really one theme you kept hearing? As an RPV resident, this is what I'm concerned about. Was it safety? Was it if Terranea is going to make it? I mean, what were they telling you? Or they're telling you a lot of things, I'm sure.
How about, can you shorten the council meeting?
There you go. Yeah. I think
Really,
we always
there
hear
were
this.
there were a lot of residents that asked us to find a way to make the council meetings shorter.
And I think your first council meeting went into the midnight.
12:40.
40 a.m. I think.
12:40
We've got to work
a.m.
on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, were you hearing the same thing?
I was hearing the same thing. What I heard a lot of though is that people in the community wanted to have more diversity on the council. They wanted more people on the council that represented different groups in the community. Since the election happened, I've had more parents that I had not met before coming up to me and saying they're so excited that they've got council people, which overnight, we went from a council that had no children of councilmen to 5.
Right.
You've got 3 children that go to local schools. I have 2.
Right.
I've been told, the youngest child of a council person in many, many years. I think that's good. I think that's exciting for a lot of those parents out there that haven't felt like they've got people on council that necessarily understand the importance of parks and neighborhood recreation and things for kids to do. We understand that. We live it.
Yeah, and on a serious note, I want to echo what Brian just said. There was a lot of sentiment that we needed to have some diversity on the council, and so
And now it's certainly there.
we bring that.